Good morning, and thanks for listening to Fee or Not to Fee. I'm your host, Tanner Tracy, and the topic for today's podcast is about Greek life on college campuses. More specifically, should Boise State allow a bigger on campus presence from this community, or just leave things how they are now? What I mean is, would the university and students benefit more from this community if they were on campus more frequently through something like a Greek row, in which all fraternities and sororities have dedicated houses that are located on campus? Before diving straight into the facts, let's talk about Boise State's history involving Greek life. Since 1935, Boise State has had an active Greek life community, but today it consists of around 1,200 students, which translates into about 5% of the student body population. BSU is also seen as a commuter school for Greek life members, since it does not have Greek houses, causing its members to either live in dorms, which are not preferred by most, or to find an off campus house and commute to class each day. All this adds up to a small on campus presence from Greek life compared to other major universities. Now that we're all on the same page, let's get straight into it. When people hear the words fraternities or sororities, more times than not, they instantly think of how they've been portrayed in media in recent years. This includes things like partying, excessive drinking, drug use, sexual assault, and hazing, which are all very negative attributes that no college wants to be known for on their campus. While not all these aspects associated with Greek life are present at the colleges they are on, some of them are. In a personal interview with Scott Tracy, who's an Auburn University alumni and was in a fraternity, explains why he was only part of this community for 1 year. Quote, I wanted to join a frat since high school because it was something that everyone in my family had done, so I grew up with the idea it was something I was supposed to do. Although joining a fraternity had some positive parts to it, the majority of it was negative, because it really hurt my grades my first year, since I was out partying more than I was studying. End quote. This trend of partying more while in Greek life has been the product of a lot of debate. But as a study by Sandy Gibson concluded, Greek life members, in general, are more likely to participate in excessive alcohol consumption compared to the average student. And in a Greek house setting, all students, whether they are part of Greek life or not, are more likely to drink and use drugs like marijuana. This falls exactly in line with the claims that Mr. Tracy was making about his personal experience. While it is true that every student won't have the exact same experience, the data shows a portion of them will. Because of this simple fact, it causes many people to create the assumption that all Greek life members do in their free time is party, which is not always the case, since most colleges do require that for Greek life to remain on their campus, they must hold a certain number of social events and conduct a certain number of community service hours. As Mr. Tracy explained it, there are a lot of social events that allow students to meet new people they otherwise would not have. But when looking at the community service hours Mr. Tracy's frat, they did the bare minimum, and he personally did none. Even though these members did what was required of them, in Mr. Tracy's eyes, he viewed the purpose of Greek life as a means for people to meet others and party, nothing more. To contrast this view, let's take a peek at Mr. Markel Walters, who is a current Boise State student and is part of Greek life. His personal experience so far has been quite different from that of Mr. Tracy. Quote, Greek life has allowed me to get out, do more stuff, and meet lots of new people. For academics, it's had some ups and downs, but for the most part, it's had a positive impact on me. Since I am surrounded by other guys who care about their grades, it's helped me want to do better and get a routine for studying. End quote. These ideas presented from Mr. Walter seem to embody the majority of students' experiences with Greek life. In a peer-reviewed article by Roughton and Walker, they investigated the effects of Greek life on college students during and after college, and found that on average, students affiliated with Greek life graduate faster than students who are not, and they do not suffer from a significant difference in GPA, meaning the average Greek life student is more likely to graduate in 4 years and have a very comparable GPA to other students. These two benefits alone are enough to make any knowledgeable person want to consider looking into being a part of this community. And thankfully, Mr. Walters explains that, quote, Greek life is something that anybody can be a part of, as long as you find a group of people you get along with and are able to balance your time well, end quote. So basically, anyone can join Greek life and have the chance of benefiting from faster graduation rates and similar GPAs to other students. Mr. Markel Walters, it seems, has painted a picture of what Greek life is that is similar to what other Greek life members seem to think of it, which is something that people can get out, meet others, do fun things, but yet find help in academics and being a successful student. This entire thing is clear as mud, right? Two completely different people with completely different narratives about Greek life, and both of which are backed up by some type of research. This topic of Greek life having a bigger on-campus presence generates two types of people. those who are for it and those who are against it, with very few in the middle. There are obvious benefits to having a greater on-campus presence from Greek life, like getting more students involved with their school, helping students socially, and helping them graduate faster. But the cons of this community should not be ignored. Things like increased sexual assault on campus and an increase in alcohol consumption and drug use. To me, there's no right way to go about this. Limiting students' opportunity to participate in different communities and develop personal experiences while in college doesn't seem right. But in the same regard, putting groups of students in positions to do unhealthy or even illegal things is not something anyone should condone. If there was a way to pick and choose what parts of the Greek life community are present with them, then there would be no debate or question about letting this community have a bigger presence. But since that just isn't the case, it's really tough to say whether or not the pros outweigh the cons of this community. I'd like to end my podcast by giving a special thanks to Mr. Scott Tracy and Markel Walters for taking time out of their day and letting me interview them, along with all the sources used in my podcast. And thank you all for listening.